Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Natural 9, a show here on the internet where I try to recap last week's Critical Role in 9 minutes or less for the intrepid critter out there who has too much going on in their lives. I'm your host, Arthur from Natural 9, and this week was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was a lot of tension coming off last week's huge reveal at the very end of the episode. Just get right back into it. Yeah! So picking up where we left off last week, first and foremost, Percy's still around. Thanks Ray for that. But amidst all the celebration and all the preparation for the next round of the journey, we find out that Vox Machina has been basically harboring a criminal dragon by the name of Raishan. Turns out that Seekers assume had been Raishan the entire time, and we're opening on the negotiations between Rai and the crew. First, a little bit of backstory from Raishan. According to her, Raishan and Thordak first met 20 years ago south of the Stormcrest Mountains where she made her home. And after doing a little tussle, Thordak saw that he could hold something over Raishan's head. Something very important. The cure for a disease that she was suffering from. She doesn't know much about the disease, but she knows that it was caused by a druid of Melora that she fought a century ago, who apparently gave her life and her soul to curse the green dragon. This illness got worse over the years, and Raishan ended up searching for a cure all over the world, burning everything in her path. Thordak, of course, promised her this cure because apparently he knows it, in exchange for her servitude. So they agreed, they parted ways, but Raishan got paranoid and then she checked in on Thordak. Turns out he got sealed in the fire plane by the original Dragon Busters. That's right, Allura's party in the house, bitch. And of course we know the story from there. Raishan busted Thordak out, and a whole bunch of crazy shit happened. Unfortunately for her, though, it turns out that Thordak himself is going a little crazy. Whatever happened to him, whatever the Firestone is that is embedded in his chest, it's making him go crazy, and it's also making him lose his mind. Either way, Raishan's convinced that Thordak will never give her the cure, so she wants to kill him and then make him tell her the cure after he's dead, when he can't lie. After hearing this entire story, you'd think that Vox Machina might have a little bit of sympathy for the dragon. Especially Keyleth. She has the most empathy of all the crew. Instead, she comes at Raishan with the rage of 1,000 million billion, I don't actually know the number, but the strength of a lot of dead fire Ashari, because yeah, she's still a little pissed about that whole causing the extinction of a quarter of her culture. Percy manages to translate some of her salt speech. Rai is clearly desperate, and she needs Vox Machina way more than they need her. So Raishan puts some more cards on the table. The real Assume is alive and well in Iman, apparently still working with the class to get survivors situated and form a strike force against Thordak, so at least part of her story is correct. Assume and the class are thinking going after the crystals or whatever they are and embedded inside of Thordak may be the best plan, but Raishan disagrees, so probably a good idea to pay attention to that Vox Machina. Raishan plans on getting the hell out of Dodge after killing Thordak, planning to roost either back in the south or, taking her business across the Osmond Sea. She's also incredibly convinced that Thordak actually has the cure for her, not hearing a word against the idea. She's convinced that Thordak's basically dangling the cure in front of her, never planning on giving it to her. Of course, you'd think that some of this... Am I repeating myself? Because these notes tell me that Keyleth is very much still mad at Raishan. Meanwhile, Percy understands that these threats are very real, which is why he's even talking to her. Because there's only one side of the table that's severely underestimating the other. Vox Machina is convinced that the first thing that they need to do is take down Vorogol before anything else. They've got a deadline to hit anyway. As implied before, based off of previous conversations, Vorogol's not nearly as smart as the rest of them. He's more primal. And Vox Machina wishes to know if Raishan is willing to fight with them. At this point in the conversation, they talk about what exactly Thordak thinks of all of this, and it turns out that Thordak has been keeping an eye on the rest of the Conclave, so he knows very well that Umbrasyl's dead. And meanwhile, Raishan is keeping tabs with Thordak, pretending to be in Westruun to get revenge for Umbrasyl. That little flyover from Vorogol a couple episodes back was definitely a direct result of his death. During these talks, Percy reminds Raishan that if Whitestone falls, their talks end. While Scanlan speculates that this whole thing's a trap, but the crew figured that if it was, they'd already be dead anyway. Yeah, I know I keep coming back to it, but it just really happens a lot. Keyleth really wants to kill Raishan, and she doesn't want to negotiate for shit. But Vax tells her they're only really debating the order in which the dragons die. Turns out Raishan was first on Keyleth's list. Percy chimes in that he doesn't recommend lists. Last time he had one, well, didn't turn out that well. Raishan's not really doing much to help her case, though. All she does is antagonize Keyleth, reminding her that she's spilled a lot of blood in her time too. So Vox Machina comes up with a deal. They'll negotiate the fall of the Thordak after the fall of Vorgal and not a moment before. Raishan reluctantly agrees, but insists her identity stay secret to everyone apart from Vox Machina, and that she be allowed to continue her full reign of Whitestone. Apparently she's got some plans for something in Whitestone that might be useful to fell Thordak. Very specifically, the spitting orb of doom down below in the ziggurat. More impatience from Keyleth and a really cool moment. Grog, of all people, tells Keyleth that she needs to be patient because they'll get more out of this. And when Grog, of all people, tells you to be patient, that's saying something. Although, to be fair, he has grown a lot in terms of character depth. When asked about it, Raishan insists that Thordak has no idea what's going on beneath Whitestone, what the orb's about, anything like that. But his main goal is to take everything for himself. Starting with Iman, which is already being slowly converted into volcanic land by whatever is embedded in his chest. Of course, the process will take hundreds of years, but it's already happening. Vax has got a little bit of paranoia himself. He's convinced that Rai is planning on summoning Vecna, just like the Briarwoods before her, but she shuts him down pretty quickly, saying that she does not wish to be subjugated by any other being, whatever they may be. Still though, Vax, and really the rest of Vox Machina, thinks that she's bullshitting. Except for Percy, who thinks that she's telling every bit of truth. Well, not every bit of truth. Most of the truth. Lies by omission are a very tricky thing, aren't they, Percy? Raishan continues to agree to the fight with Vorgal, but insists that she remain a sort of secretive member of the party, because if Thordak finds out that she's gone rogue, shit's gonna go down. Vox Machina agrees. Keyleth even shakes Raishan's hand and burns it with the fire hands. You know, because negotiations. The group agrees to reconvene in the morning to prepare for the fight against Vorgal. Also, Scanlan wants to fuck a dragon. That's a thing that happened, and you can never unknow it. The crew then heads to the ziggurat to start working on their plan to take out Vorgal. The first thing the Keyleth does is scream her head off. I mean, I get it, you're pissed, Kiki, but you gotta get your head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game. Oh my god, I just made a fucking High School Musical reference. Please forgive me. Keyleth tries to garner up some knowledge about Melora, who is a relatively neutral goddess, and Scanlan intelligence checks himself into some knowledge about soul curses, spiteful things that are very much in line with what Raishan is dealing with right now. Meanwhile, Scanlan and Grog talk about one very important thing that Percy may have missed when he first woke up from being dead. The fact that Grog picked up all the guns rather than someone else. Scanlan, of course, continuing down his long, lonesome road to something or other. I don't know, he's going crazy or something. He insists that Grog and he take a couple guns, you know, to basically be cool guys who got the cool guns or whatever. Grog insists that he doesn't want one and lets Scanlan get one himself. Speaking of Grog, he then has a really funny moment with Percy, negotiating to trade the guns for some valuables off Percy. The first thing he receives is a cloak of smashing, in reality a cloak that Percy had called smashing, and the title Grand Poobah Didoink of all of this and that. Truly a glorious title. He won't give in. He won't give in until he's victorious. And he will defend. He will defend. I'm sorry. I really am. It's a disease, I swear. Percy then prepares them and repairs them for his plans, and he finally gets the item card for Animus. Ripley's gun, well, it only takes 3 words from Taliesin to realize what exactly this means.
This is mean. That was spectacular.
While he's doing that, Grog thanks Vex for that time that she flashed her tits at him, and he thanks her by giving her the superior healing potion he got from the fight. If that isn't the most Grog way to celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I don't know what is. Now, during all this, and I forgot to mention it because I'm an idiot, the crew's been researching the Goristro that is currently residing in the Abyss. The Goristro's name is Yank. Well, they think the name is Yank, but they're not entirely convinced. So they do a bit of research to see exactly what Yank is. They go all over the place. Vax goes to the Raven Queen, who basically tells him that they already know everything that they need to know, that the path to the Sphinx gave them everything they need, which of course is probably referring to the fact that Yank was the name given to them by Kamal Giori in the first place, so it's probably a safe bet to say that that's actually the proper name. But of course, Vox Machina thinks that the gods are being useless. Vex and Percy have a cute little moment in the library where they research the Goristro and see exactly what it is. And Grog and Scanlan shame Keeper Yennon into trying to find out what the information is. He's unsuccessful. They made fun of an old man. Moving on. All this research conducted for one very important purpose. Vex's idea is to lure Vorogol using the Goristro Yank. That way they kill two birds with one stone. They weaken Vorogol and make him ready to be killed by Vox Machina, and they acquire the Spire of Conflux all in one go. It's not too bad if I say so myself. A couple of concerns hit Vox Machina at this point, specifically whether or not Scanlan can cast Gate or not. To be fair, there's only a very small chance that he won't be able to, but Vox Machina doesn't want to take that chance. So they figure Allura might be a good candidate to cast the spell. Percy finally drops the plan that he was hinting at earlier today. The plan to arm some guards inside of Whitestone Castle with the guns that Ripley had, and just make sure they're at the ready to defend in case of a dragon attack. Meanwhile, Vex and Zara discuss the pricing of the Dragon Slayer arrow. Turns out it's really expensive. May not be worth it. Who knows? We'll see. Kima and Allura make appearances. Allura says that she can't cast a spell the way that she is right now, but she may be able to do so in the future if they would allow her to copy it. This, of course, destroys the scroll for the spell, so it's probably not a good idea to do so since they desperately need it. Scanlan also finally breaks the news to Allura that Tiberius has fallen, and she takes off very, very sad. This saddens Kima a bit, but her mood quickly changes when Vox Machina proposes that she come with them to kill Vorogol, and she is so stoked. Unfortunately, however, Vox Machina, who had not intended to do this, accidentally blabs to Kima that they're gonna be dealing with a guest during their fight, and it's not Kima. It's Raishan. They decided to tell her everything within a span of 10 minutes just in case they need to wipe her memory through Scanlan's memory modification. She thinks they're idiots, reminds them that she was the one who told them that Cloroda was going to betray them in the first place, but she does promise not to blab. She still thinks they're idiots, but she's not going to snitch. With that, final preparations are made to head to Draconia. Percy attuning to Animus. He also tells Raishan about Kima, the plan with Yank, and how to meet everyone in the ruins of Draconia. Percy calling her bluff that she can't make it on her own. Keyleth has a little conversation with the Sun Tree, all while holding the Sun Tree's root. Yeah, Laura made it weird. Things discussed with the Sun Tree include the cities at the arcane ley lines that connect the Sun Tree to other areas all around the world. Doesn't know shit. What exactly the little orb is supposed to be feeding. Doesn't know shit. And if there are any gods that are paying attention to this city at the moment. And he doesn't know shit, but the poor Sun Tree is a bit lonely because Pelor isn't around. But Keyleth reassures the Sun Tree that she's still around, and he'll never be alone. With that, the crew finally takes off to Draconia, but not before Scanlan makes an admirable attempt to clear Kima's memory of what she heard. He fails, amazingly, and she, more than a little pissed off, hits a natural 20 on the attack. Just as they're entering the Sun Tree, Percy fails a perception check. I don't know what that's about. They arrive in the outskirts of Draconia where Keyleth planted the tree originally, head inside the mansion with Scanlan and Kima being a little bitter at each other. They scry to make sure that everything is safe, and it looks like Tuma and her gang are just sleeping at the moment. And then Scanlan and Vax actually head to Tuma where they talk about their preparations for the fight against Vorogol. And that is it. So we're in for a fight next episode. That shit's gonna be bananas. And we've completed yet another episode. Did I leave anything out? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. And you can follow me on Twitter here, and you can follow this Twitter for episode updates. I've been Arthur from Natural 9, and is it Thursday yet?